Every story here offers a powerful lesson that can change your perspective on the world. So, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay with me until the end. Only by experiencing the complete story will the truth and lesson truly resonate with you. Disclaimer. Sometimes truth doesn't come out in the first scream, but in the silence after. This is what happens when a lie tries to protect evil. She said the child fell, but something in her voice didn't sit right. 3 days later, a quiet town learned what she was really covering up. A lie, meant to protect someone, uncovered a secret the world was never supposed to hear. This is the story of Ellie Branson, a bright-eyed 4-year-old girl, and the 17-year-old babysitter who made one decision that changed everything. Westbridge, Oregon. A quiet town where front doors stay unlocked and neighbors still bake each other pies. Nestled in the pine-covered hills of the Pacific Northwest, Westbridge was the kind of town where nothing ever happened. People left their keys in the ignition. Kids played until dusk. Parents never worried. So when tragedy struck the Branson family in April 2016, it rattled the community. Because what happened didn't just defy belief. It exposed a darkness no one saw coming. 17-year-old Kayla Harmon had been babysitting Ellie Branson nearly every weekend for months. The Bransons trusted her. She was quiet, respectful, dependable. Ellie adored her. On the night, Kayla arrived around 6 p.m. She and Ellie played in the living room, read books, watched cartoons. At 9:12 p.m., Kayla made a frantic 911 call. "She fell. She hit her head. Please come fast. She's not waking up." When paramedics arrived, Ellie was unconscious. By midnight, she was in a coma. By morning, doctors knew. She wasn't going to wake up again. At first, it seemed like a tragic accident. Kayla said Ellie had tripped and hit her head on the coffee table. But doctors quickly noticed something that didn't make sense. Bruises, old and new, covered parts of Ellie's body. On her arms, her back, the backs of her legs. None of them were consistent with a single fall. There was no head trauma where Kayla said there should have been. No swelling, no bleeding. Just bruises that raised more questions than answers. Kayla stuck to her story. She slipped. She hit the corner of the table, I swear. But the investigators weren't convinced. When detectives brought Kayla in for further questioning, her story began to shift. She couldn't recall exactly what Ellie had been doing. She couldn't say where in the room she'd fallen. Her voice shook. Her eyes darted. Finally, she changed her account. "We were playing hide and seek. I looked away for just a second." Police searched the Branson home again. There were no signs of a fall. No blood on the coffee table. No hair, no impact marks. Ellie was a careful child. Her parents described her as gentle, shy, cautious. She didn't run through the house. She didn't play rough. And the injuries didn't match any kind of accident. Then, a neighbor stepped forward with a piece of information that changed everything. Around 7:30 p.m., a neighbor across the street noticed a black sedan pull into the Branson driveway. It sat there for nearly half an hour. Then it drove off. The Bransons weren't expecting anyone, and Kayla hadn't mentioned anyone else being there. When detectives confronted her with the sighting, her demeanor changed. She lowered her head, took a deep breath, and said, "Okay, someone came over, but I didn't want to get them in trouble." His name was Jake Salter, 23 years old, Kayla's boyfriend. She said they had been seeing each other in secret for months. Her parents didn't approve of the age gap. She told no one. On the night Ellie was injured, Jake had insisted on coming by just for a minute. Kayla said she didn't want him there, but he came anyway. When he saw Ellie, she said something changed in his face. "He was weird," she said. He stared at her. He made comments I didn't understand. Jake asked to see the guest room. Then, according to Kayla, he picked Ellie up and carried her inside. He told her to wait outside. Kayla said she heard Ellie crying, but she didn't go in. She didn't call for help. She just froze. Minutes later, Jake came out. "She's fine," he told her. "She just fell." For the next 45 minutes, Kayla watched Ellie lie on the couch. Her eyes glazed, her breathing shallow. And then she stopped responding altogether. At 9:12 p.m., Kayla called 911. She didn't mention Jake. She told them Ellie had tripped. Ellie died in the ICU. 2 days later, forensic analysis revealed trace DNA on Ellie's clothing. It matched Jake Salter. Police began searching for him. 4 days after the incident, Jake was found near the Canadian border attempting to flee. He was arrested and brought back to Oregon. In his car were disposable phones, burner IDs, and a laptop. When authorities opened that laptop, they weren't prepared for what they found. Inside were dozens of encrypted journal entries. Each one was labeled with a name, a date, and a town. Some names matched missing children from other states: Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and even Utah. Some were from small towns barely large enough to make the news. Some had never been solved. What began as a case about a young girl's death had just turned into something much larger. The FBI took over the laptop. They are still analyzing the files. To this day, no one knows how far Jake's actions really went, or how many children he may have come in contact with. Jake Salter was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Kayla Harmon was charged with obstruction of justice and reckless endangerment. She served 11 months in juvenile detention. After her release, she disappeared from public life. No interviews, no statements, no social media, nothing. The community of Westbridge never fully recovered. Every parent now double-checks every door. Every babysitter is scrutinized. And Ellie Branson's name still echoes in the halls of the small preschool she once attended. A life cut short, a secret relationship that spiraled, and a lie meant to protect exposed something horrifying. If Kayla had told the truth that night, would Ellie still be alive? Or, if she hadn't lied, would we have never known? Would Jake have vanished, untouched, untraced? Would those journal entries have ever been found? Some believe Kayla was a victim too. Others say she had a responsibility she failed to uphold. Maybe both things are true. But one thing is certain, justice was only served because a lie cracked open the truth. This is the story no one was meant to hear. But now, you have. Moral lesson. In a world where trust is often given too easily, Ellie's story reminds us, not everyone deserves a key to your home, or your child's heart. Behind every smiling babysitter could be a story you never want to hear. So ask the hard questions. Dig deeper. Know who you're letting in. Because one overlooked truth, one unasked question, can cost everything. Your child's safety isn't paranoia, it's protection. Be the parent who checks twice, because little lives depend on it. Please, subscribe to our channel for more educational content like this.